most of the people laughed to these guests who come here, doing water fasting, doing master detox, but their only intention is to be healthy. Because nowadays, the norms is telling us that for you to be normal, you need to eat meat, you need to do this, you need to jive to the general population. So I envision myself that someday, people focusing with health and wellness will not be the minority and will be now the new trend as a form of holiday and vacation. This biohacking can help different people, especially suffering for mood problem, depression, anxiety, neurological problem, or even memory problem. It's normal for us to perceive threat or stress in life. It is a matter of how we respond. And biohacking can stimulate your brain so that you have a calculated response to the threat that we are exposed in a daily basis.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gail Gerard and I'm your host. Thanks so much for joining me. Well, I come to you from a very special place. I'm currently staying at the health and wellness retreat called the Life Co, and it's in Phuket in Thailand. And I'm having the most wonderful time. I'm currently doing a juice cleansing program and also combined with a water fast. And it's absolutely beautiful here. I've got to say, this is the lake view behind me, and it's just so pristine and so quiet. So it's the perfect place to come and do a juice cleanse or a water fast, which is what I'm doing, and just completely reset the mind and body. So today I'm joined by a very special guest. I've already learned so much from Dr. Ryan. He's an incredible source of information, and he's in charge of the biohacking programs here at the retreat. Dr. Ryan, it's so great to be sitting down with you today to learn more about biohacking and how it can be integrated and incorporated into a juice cleanse and water fast to get maximum results. Before we dive into that, I just want to learn a little bit more about you. What inspired you to get into medicine?
I am a licensed neuropsychologist here in Phuket, Thailand, and my decision to be in the field of medicine is because my passion of helping people to be well in a not conventional type. Because before I involved myself in a pharmaceutical company or pharmaceutical industry, and I see that there are some ways that against my will and against my belief that there are other types of healing or holistic type of process of medicine that we could somehow give a recommendation to patients, but not always the conventional synthetic medicine that we give to them. So this kind of principle of mine has been embedded in my heart, that through this kind of healing practices, we could give how the people can manage their condition naturally or using nature and natural process and integrative processes, which doesn't give any side effect to the physiological or the body responses.
What led you to working at the Life Co in Phuket?
So Life, I saw their website because I'm looking for an organization who aligns with my principle about integrative way of healing. Then when the founder invited me to have a look and visit them of how their organization works, I was amazed, because most of the therapies and interventional program that they do is integrative, or this is not a type of conventional medicine that you do in a hospital. Then personally, I was surprised because the therapies that they're providing here, which is not taught in the book, was very and highly effective, that I personally witnessed. And then I believe now in the principle of Life Co, because I personally experienced and I personally witnessed patients or guests that was healed and made their diseases more manageable. Most of the guests coming here in Life Co, of course, they have some physiological problem that they want to somehow manage. Typical is diabetes, hypertension, high blood cholesterol, other neurological or nerve damage conditions. In the medical clinic that we have here, we do have different types of IV or intravenous that we put to the guests so that their condition somehow will be managed using this kind of interventional IVs or fluids.
Can you explain in simple terms what is biohacking and how can it relate to brain function and optimizing overall wellness?
Biohacking follows the principle of biofeedback. Biofeedback in neuroscience is an integrative way of stimulating the brain function. The body and the brain are one. We need to make sure that it works properly and they aligned in terms of making our whole well-being in a perfect condition. But there are some people that mentally damaged and they're not aware of this. Some of them having a problem sleeping. Some of them having a problem with their mood and emotion, because remember the emotions are all coming from the brain as well, because this is responsible for our mood and different kind of management for these kinds of feelings or different kinds of uncountable emotions. This biohacking can help different people, especially suffering for mood problem, depression, anxiety, neurological problem, or even memory problem. Because, example, this emotive, it is a highly advanced technology which provide an EEG type or a brain scan type in the hospital settings. Not just only brain scan, but it could also see what is the condition of the electricity or the impulses of your brain, so we could see and assess which portion of the brain needs a help and needs an improvement. Most of the people coming here, they are overthinkers, they're having an anxiety, and the result is always similar, that the prefrontal cortex or around here is kind of little bit above average in terms of the electricity compared with the other parts or other regions of the brain. Now, once we identify that there is an area to be improved, we now plan the treatments or the biohacking therapies that we will do. Biohacking or biofeedback will be light, sound, and vibration. So these light will be interpreted by the ocular nerve. This nerve is one of the easiest and biggest channel for it to penetrate to the brain. That's why we will be stimulating the brain. Also, auditory nerve and vagus nerve here. All of these combined as a big gateway, as a cord connected to the brain, it will give stimulation to the brain so that we can do a much more stimulation for the brain having neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means this is a pathway or rewiring the brain connection. As we are getting older, as we are exposed to different kinds of threats or scenarios, the brain system gets disturbed and distracted. And sometimes they forgot their pathways, which is easier for them. That's why this neuroplasticity will make your brain find another shortcut or good pathway, because brain is malleable. It can be enhanced. It can go back to its original form, provided that you do stimulations and supplementations of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. What we do here in LifeCo is we are doing interventional program just to stimulate your brain to achieve the perfect neuroplasticity or brain rewiring. And then give your recommendation of what are the things you need to do when you check out, so that this good result will still carry on and will still remain on you.
If somebody's new to biohacking for the first time and they're keen to explore it, can you explain to us what is the process of rewiring the brain and what are some of the benefits someone could expect?
So the process is simply, okay, of course you need to go here, and then you need to have this kind of acceptance to yourself, that there is something that you need to change on you that bothers your psychosocial aspect, meaning to say your well-being. that you cannot adjust, you cannot adapt to situations, and there is an impairment that you feel that that's not the real you 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Once you have these acceptance, then you're very welcome for this kind of intervention to check first by the emotive EEG to see which area is the improvement that we need to have for your brain. And then once we identify the area of improvement, then we will create a program for you for light, sound, and vibration for 5 to 7 days. We will monitor you and track you in a daily basis. After that, we're gonna do brain scan again, or using EEG of emotive. Then you will see the changes, the before and then the after. And you will also notice the significant difference. Most of the feedback that we're getting to guests who had this kind of program, even though they check out, they send a message to me that their mental clarity, their focus improved. Emotional management also enhanced. And a lot of things that improve in terms of their mental and cognitive processes.
Can you share with us a little bit more information about how the light, the sound, and the vibration therapies impact the rewiring process of the brain, and how do they heal the brain, and what makes them so effective?
Brain stimulation is easy, but we need to do it with a full effort and continuously. For example, 300 hertz of frequency or vibration, or let's say waves of sound, can make your brain more receptive to stimulation. So maybe you could have 60 days of exposure, 1 hour every day for 300 hertz to 600 hertz of music or sound. You could just search in different kind of internet platform like YouTube. Music or sound with 300 to 600 or 700 hertz that you could just listen to for 1 hour. And you could do it for more than 2 months, 3 months, or even 6 months, or you could do it in a day-to-day habits. These kind of small deed can create at least a stimulation in your brain. The initial benefit of this is it makes your brain and your vagus more calm. Vagus, this is very important. Vagus is the most biggest and widest nerve in the brain. We call it cranial nerve 10 because there are some people that their vagus nerve, it cannot shift immediately to rest mode. The vagus nerve needs to identify and needs to be trained from flight or fight going to rest mode. There are some people, they cannot shift to rest mode. They stay on this fight or flight response. When they see a threat, of course, the reaction of our body is to prepare ourselves of how to manage this kind of threat. Then, your sympathetic nervous system, including the vagus nerve, will activate the flight or fight response. Then, once the threat is gone, our body needs to shift into a rest mode. But there are some people, their vagal tone, the shifting is not doing good. So when you stimulate this using around 300 to 600 or 700 hertz for a long time, it could make your vagal tone much more easier to shift from fight or flight going to rest mode.
Can you share with us who would benefit most from having biohacking therapies and treatments? Do you have to be a special age, or do you have to be of a certain health condition?
Those people who's suffering from mood problem, examples depression, anxiety, because most likely their cortex or there are different parts of brain which is overactive compared with others. Insomnia, there are different factors for insomnia. This is not just only confined with the brain, maybe the melatonin hormone, but we could check if it will show that there is a part in your brain, the parietal lobe and the temporal lobe, if the electricity or the signal here and here is not doing well, so maybe it's connected with the pineal gland producing the melatonin hormone. But again, everything will be based on the result if the sleeping problem is caused by the brain. But most of the people coming here, surprisingly, they came here because they're having an anxiety problem, depression. Most of them is having memory problem. Because as we are always making ourselves busy, running and running or working and working, there are some parts which is getting affected. And one of these parts is a region for the memory. Unconsciously, this region or this part for the memory is declining. The other parts of the brain is exaggerated or above average, but this portion or this part is declining. And this is one of the important brain or cognitive functioning, because memory is very important. When we wake up, there's an information to be interpreted. But once you open your eyes, you need to interpret all of these information and retain in your memory. That's why apart from depression, anxiety, then when we see that you're having a memory problem, we're gonna hit all of these in just 5 to 7 days session, so that we will not prolonging the time to identify and or to categorize you. We will just do this first, after this one. Biohacking can have 2 or 3 resolution at one time, because again, biohacking is based on the principle of rewiring. They will teach your brain to go back to its original form or somewhat find a way for it to have a new pathway to perform much more better.
Can you explain to us, if someone was interested in doing a biohacking program here and they're already doing a juice cleanse or a water fast or an eating program, what would the biohacking process and program look like from the first assessment right through to the follow-up?
Once they come here in LifeGo, because like I've mentioned earlier, the body and mind is one. We need to make sure that the body is cleaning first. That's why we need to do the detox, because the neurotransmitters or brain chemicals are usually being produced in the gut. That's why we need to take care of the gut. So once we take care of the gut, once we remove the impurities, heavy chemicals, or different kind of foreign substances in the body, then your body will now focus the healing in the brain. That's why it's very important to combine the principle of detox here in LifeGo or body cleansing while we're doing the biohacking. So biohacking, once you come here, you're gonna be assessed what's your mental state condition. But not all of the guests has brain problem. What if the problem is hormone and not the brain? That's why we need to assess first if you need the biohacking. In the first EEG or electroencephalogram, because it gives us a waves as an assessment for each part, and if we see that every part of your brain are all normal, then I might inform them that maybe you could check these hormones that's affecting your mood, your cognitive performance, your memory functioning. Or if it is not coming from hormones, maybe we do have nutritional deficiencies. That's why you're having problem with your nerves. Or the last option that we have, maybe there is a traumatic experiences that is impairing your well-being. But if based on the result, the waves or the electricity in your brain is not optimized, then we will do the 5 to 7 days biohacking treatment, light, sound, and vibration. So every day, we need to do it at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes of light exposure, sound exposure, and vibration exposure for vagus nerve. All of these stimulations are harmoniously working just to make sure that the brain is stimulating and actively achieving this neuroplasticity or brain rewiring. Dr. Jose Silva from Texas, USA, founded this kind of brain stimulation, and he called it biofeedback. In Western area or Western countries, it's common, and other areas called sound healing. Other countries, they use color therapies for the optic nerve optimization for us to stimulate the brain. Other therapies, pet therapy, example cat, when they purr, they produce vibration that our vagus nerve is receiving. Now, the focus of biohacking in LifeGo is we combine all of these interventional stimulation in just 30 to 45 minutes for 5 to 7 days.
We all love a great transformation or a success story. Can you recall a story of somebody, I guess maybe, or somebody that came and visited here and did a program and used the tools and therapies available and had significant improvements in their health and mental well-being?
So I had a case here before, a person working in Marvel. He's working at the back of the camera, and his job is very important in terms of providing a very good story for the movie. He came here. The purpose is he's having a problem with focus, problem in terms of memory fog, and a problem of concentration in general, which impaired or hampers his job because he needs to create a story for another Marvel character that will be released by the producer. He came here for more than I think 10 days, and he did this for 7 days. And after the session, of course, he will not experience the full-blown impact of this biohacking. After 5 days of checking out, he sent a message to me that his mental clarity was phenomenal. The memory gets much more better. For in fact, he referred his friends to go here doing the same thing. And for me, this is life-changing, not just only for LifeGo, but to those people who are seeking help with their cognitive and mental performance.
What inspired the LifeCo to incorporate different biohacking therapies and tools into the different wellness programs here? And why do you believe it's beneficial to improve health and wellness?
The founder of LifeCo admits that LifeCo is very good in terms of physiological or physical healing, but we're lacking the mental side or the mind side. And in this here, we're gearing towards the holistic healing, the brain and the body healing. So this kind of plan of the founder led him to invest different kinds of equipment, devices, or different kind of medical interventions just for us to easily identify what are the needs in terms of mental health problems of the people. In the past years, we have had experienced the pandemic, COVID-19. A lot of people coming here, sharing stories about post-COVID effect. We're not sure if it is because of the COVID, which affected their brain or mental functioning, or maybe the vaccination, so we're not sure about that. And they came here to detoxify those kinds of, let's say, chemicals, which is coming from the vaccine, or maybe the protein spikes, which is coming from COVID itself. But detox alone, of course, it's very effective in cleansing, but we need to find a way as well to supplement of how we could make the cognitive and mental functioning of a person much more focused and much more intensified for its healing. That's why this is the pride of LifeGo. Detox plus biohacking will be a result turning into a very good cognitive and mental performance. Biohacking here in LifeGo was first implemented because of the medical marijuana program or the cannabis program. Because in the very beginning, we believe that the brain can be easily be controlled and malleable because of the effect of the cannabis to the brain. But then when we're testing, what if we will remove the cannabis or the medical marijuana? Will this still be effective? And based on our experimentations, it is effective. These eating program, juicing program, water fasting program, we experimented and still it's effective on them. So detox, even though we're eating, if it is raw vegan, because if we're not cooking foods in a certain temperature, we retain the minerals, vitamins in it. And once it this concentrated amount of vitamins and minerals in our body will be a form of detox as well. And it's pulling all of the unwanted things in the body. That's why there are some people experiencing pain when they're detoxing, because there are some foreign substances or foreign things which is coming out. But in a nutshell, any kind of detox program, eating, juicing, or water fasting, it is still compatible with the biohacking principle of LifeGo. This is wireless. Compared before, the EEG electroencephalogram is a test of how we could see the brain electricity, and there's a lot of wires connected to a computer. But this is wireless. Most of the neuroscientists is using this to make an assessment to their study. Alzheimer's disease, different neurological conditions. So the result will be transmitted to the computer. And here in LifeGo, we make sure that we have a correct assessment. So for 30 minutes to 1 hour, the guest is laying down, having these, listening to a music, and having a vibration here just to make sure that they are relaxed and the eyes needs to close so that they will not interpret the information around them. So we can easily identify if the brain is processing good. So we need to capture 3 data for us to draw a conclusion. Beginning of the session, middle of the session, and end of the session. Then we will see the brainwaves and what kind of brainwaves that the brain transmits. So after having these tests, then I'm going to explain what's the result. And also if there are some improvements that we could provide or we could assist so that we could achieve an optimal brain performance. So as we are putting this on to the head, we need to make sure that these nodes are lubricated. So we do have a specialized solution that we put here so that when we put this in scalp, the electricity in the brain can immediately be recognized and be detected. And then the result of the electricity and the impulses will be transmitted to our computer. And we can see now the result for every second. And this is how the emotive or EEG machine or device works for us. Biohacking, it's not for everyone because it includes light. For those people who had tremors, epilepsy, unexplainable headache that can be triggered by the light. So we cannot provide this biohacking to them. But for those people, aside from that kind of category, then you're much more welcome to have these biohacking principle or procedure of LifeGo.
For anyone that's intrigued or maybe curious and want to exploring biohacking, can you share any misconceptions that you often encounter? And what would you say to them to reassure them?
So if they have a hesitation, just email the LifeGo and have a free consultation with me so I could give you much more information personalized based on what you need and what you want to achieve. And a lot of people is asking, is it safe? Is it accepted by science? And my answer is yes, it is. I could provide you literatures, case studies, and journals about the process of biofeedback or neurofeedback, which is the foundation of biohacking.
Dr. Ryan, looking ahead, where do you see the future of biohacking heading? And how might it further elevate our understanding of overall health and well-being?
So this biohacking, I know that we are just in an early stage of it. There will be for sure a lot of manufacturing company who will give much more technique of how to stimulate this brain. And in terms of health and wellness, because we are not just putting injections or a harmful kind of intervention. For me, health and wellness is you are healing and you are experiencing comfort and you're pampering yourself while you are doing the treatment itself. Because biohacking, you will be much more relaxed when we are doing it rather than being in pain or being in a certain type of therapy or treatments. When you experience this kind of IV pains or different kind of electricity or stimulation, but one thing that I guarantee is there's no harm for this and you will be more relaxed when doing biohacking. I envision the world to see those people who are aspiring total health and wellness as not the minority. As of the moment, most of the people laughed to these guests who come here doing water fasting, doing master detox, doing this kind of intervention program. They're thinking that the guests coming here are crazy, but their only intention is to be healthy. Because nowadays, the norms is telling us that for you to be normal, you need to eat meat, you need to do this, you need to jive to the general population. So I envision myself that someday, people focusing with health and wellness will not be the minority and will be now the new trend as a form of holiday and vacation to each and every individual who is looking after for a very difficult type of situation wherein they want to escape the life and just come here in LifeGo, experience a unique way of your total aspiration to be well. In terms of health and wellness, I also dream that this kind of therapies or this kind of treatments can be all over the world and have an easy access. So I also envision it that every part of the world and every country has this same vision that LifeGo has.
For anybody wanting to connect with you, where can they find you on social media and the web?
You can find me in Facebook, Ryan J. Lacuna. You could also find me in LinkedIn, same name, or for much easiest access, because I don't usually read messages in my personal social networking sites, you could just send an email to the LifeGo and the team will immediately talk to me and make your message as urgent as possible.
Thank you so much for being here with me today, Dr. Ryan. It's been so great to get to know you over the past few days.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody out there that's watching or listening, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got great value out of this conversation. And please do me a huge favor and like this video. That would help me tremendously. And make sure you share it with your friends or family. And hit the subscribe button. We've got some great content coming up, including some wonderful vegan and raw vegan recipes. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I can't wait to share them with you. Until next time, bye for now.